Hi everyone, and welcome to the Red Brick House. I hope everybody is having a fantastic day today. If you're new here, my name is Susan and I like to do lots of different crafts, but right now I am really enjoying diamond painting. And if you're not familiar with the terms, WIP stands for WIP in progress. So today I'm going to be working on my custom kit from Diamond Painting Pro. I'm not going to go into all the specifics on this kit. I will tell you that the image here that you're seeing is my beautiful cat Azrael that passed away last October. And I got this as a Christmas gift from my husband and my daughter. And I have a whole unboxing video on this kit, so if you want more details, please check that video out. And today I want to work on this kit. It's going too fast, you guys. I'm getting it done too fast, and I don't want it to be over. I'm enjoying this kit so much. You can see like I finished up here and down around here. I'm kind of going just around because I want her face right here to be the last thing that I do. So today I'm going to be working on this little corner over here, and I thought I would just have a little chat with you guys while I work on this. So how has everyone been doing? Did everyone in the US survive the ice storm that happened last week or last weekend? The last time I did one of these videos where I was chatting, I was getting prepared for that event. I was taking care of my plants and everything like that. For us, I mean, everything's fine. We're all fine. But I will tell you a few things that happened. So for us, we had a little bit of a problem. The weather was not the problem. I mean, yes, we got way more precipitation than they thought we were going to. We were projected to have about a ½ inch of sleet, freezing rain, things like that. And we had more to like an inch and 1.5 inches in some places, and that was kind of due to the wind. So last Friday night, we had just rain. It wasn't like freezing rain or ice or anything, but it was just rain. The temperatures were still up. Oh gosh, it would help if I pulled the plastic back. Oh my goodness, this is dangerous for me to talk and do things at the same time, let me tell you. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. Okay, that's better. And make sure y'all can see. Okay, so anyway, we were projected to have freezing rain, sleet, that kind of thing, and then it was supposed to be over by Monday. So that was Friday. We had a bunch of rain. It rained, I think it rained like all night long. Like, I didn't sleep well that night, and every time I woke up it was raining. And but the temperatures were still above freezing, and they didn't drop until Saturday about noon. They started falling, and we got under freezing then, and we stayed below freezing until Monday. But originally they were saying Monday we were supposed to warm up above freezing, and that everything might not melt, but whatever didn't melt would refreeze on the roads, So Tuesday morning was kind of for around here, pretty dangerous to be out on the road with a bunch of ice on the road. So, Monday, let me back up. Saturday evening and Saturday night, we had sleet and maybe some freezing rain, maybe a winter mix. That's a G. Yeah, maybe like a winter mix is kind of what we had Saturday night. And Sunday morning we woke up, and there was probably at least 1 inch of ice on the ground. And then in places where the wind had kind of blown it, because it was quite windy when it was sleeting and everything. And so it kind of piled up higher in other areas, but Monday, it's supposed to warm up. Yeah, no, it did not warm up. We got to like Sunday, and then the weatherman was like, okay, it's going to be Tuesday before you see really any significant melting. And then Tuesday came around, and it was like, oh, well, it's going to be Wednesday, because Tuesday was cloudy, And we got above freezing, but it was like 39 degrees, 40 degrees, I think. And that was it. And it was still quite windy and cold. So we didn't have much melting. But, you know, by that time, Tuesday, everybody was like getting antsy. You know, people were like starting to go down the road and, you know, kind of slide around. I mean, here in the South where I live, our cities are not equipped with machinery to, you know, get rid of ice and snow. Our cities don't, they don't have the money to invest in those kind of machines because they're not needed majority of the time. You know, if you live in a place where it snows every winter, then of course your city is going to be able to handle that with snow plows and different things like that. But for us, because we only have one of these ice events like once every 2 or 3 years, it's just not feasible for our, you know, for our towns to have this big equipment that hardly ever gets used, you know, so that we don't have it. You know, they'll sand the roads, they'll salt the roads sometimes, but that's it. And so nobody goes anywhere, you know. So by Tuesday, everybody wanted to go somewhere, you know, my husband included. So my husband goes out to, he was like, I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to go, you know, I'm going to go to Walmart, which is across town. It's about a 10-minute drive. Okay. You know, and so, I was like, it still looks pretty icy out there. I don't think it's a good idea. And it was kind of funny. It really was kind of funny because he was like, no, I want to go. I'm going to go. I was like, okay, please don't wreck my car. You know, his cars had problems and, his battery was dead in his car before this ice storm happened and we didn't get it fixed in time. And so his car was out of commission. So we only had my car. And luckily we have 2 cars. I am very fortunate and thankful to have, you know, for us to have 2 cars. But, you know, my car was the only car that we could take. And he goes out to start my car. And I mean, I had put what's it called? Antifreeze, all that stuff, you know. I mean, it was, we prepared it and everything. So it's not like it had any damage or anything. But the car would not start. We kind of forgot when we were kind of wrapped up in thinking about his car. Kind of forgot that it's been a long time since we've put a battery in my car. And so my car wouldn't start. So we were kind of like stuck at home for real, even if we wanted to go somewhere. We weren't going anywhere. So then, and it was fine. Like we didn't need anything. Like we were fine. We were beginning to run out of things like, you know, milk and butter and stuff like that because we thought, you know, we thought it was going to be over on Monday and it wasn't. So next time we have a situation like this, we're definitely going to prepare for like a whole week, you know, just in case. It's always good to be prepared. But anyway, so I called my sister and I was like, hey, tomorrow, could you take me to Walmart to get a battery? And she was like, yes, of course. She was like, I'm so ready to get out of the house anyway. So she did. So Wednesday came. And by lunchtime on Wednesday, the roads were pretty good. I mean, there was some patchy ice left over in some like shady areas, but for the most part, our roads were fine by Wednesday. So we got out and I got a battery and all is well. My car is fine. And so anyway, it was just kind of funny how that turned out. But how was it for you? If you live in that area that was affected, let me know how it was where you were. I know that there's another storm system that's going to go up the east coast of the U.S. I believe this week. I haven't really kept up with it that much because we weren't part of that, so I wasn't concerned. But from Florida, like all the way up the east side of the U.S., I know was supposed to have some interest in weather. So if that is you, let me know. How did it go? Do you have any funny stories to tell? Hopefully everybody's fine, and hopefully people aren't without power, because that is the worst, to be without power when it's cold and icy and you may not have a fireplace to keep you warm and things like that. So I hope everybody is doing okay with that. But like I said, I am loving this kit from Diamond Painting Pro. I will probably buy more from them because I like the glue, I like the drills. I'm very happy with it, with this kit, and I'm so enjoying it that I don't want it to end. Like I kind of don't want to be done with it. So I have been kind of taking my time. I haven't worked on it in the past few days. I think the last time I worked on it was Friday. Today is Monday. And Saturday this weekend, it was a nice weekend. It was cold, but it was nice. We went to Austin because, like I said, my husband had been having problems with his car. And so we went to Austin, and he found a way. He found a way. And we looked at our finances and everything to make sure, but he got a new car, and he is like over the moon in love with this new car. And so now we have a good car. My car is old as well. The bad thing is that his old car and my car, we bought within like a year, maybe 2 of each other. So, and we paid them off, and we kept them, and we tried to take care of them, so they'll last, because we are not the kind of people that, we turn around and buy a new car like every couple of years. We keep our cars because, we pay them off. You want to have some years without a car payment, and that's what we did. So it's been a while. Both of our cars are pretty old. As old as my daughter, and my daughter's 13. So both of our cars are like 14, 15 years old now. And I mean, both of them were okay. His car needed a battery, and obviously my car needed a battery, but my car has something else wrong with it where, it keeps leaking or using water from the water reservoir. And we don't know why. I've already taken it into the shop once, and they replaced the water pump and did some other stuff, and, but it's still happening. And so we have to get that sorted out. So I'm really glad to have a new vehicle. I don't have to worry about, it breaking down on me or him or anything. So that's my good news for the week. What else? Oh, I was going to tell you the story of my cat Azrael here. This beautiful little kitty I'm making this, painting of. She has an interesting story. I was going to talk about how we got to have her. And so I thought that would be fun and appropriate for this kit. So I guess it was, I don't know the year, but my daughter was 2. She was just turning 2, and that's how I can remember, like, when this beautiful cat came into my life, because I always relate everything to, like, how old my daughter was at the time. It's how I keep track of life. I don't know if other people do the same thing, but that's what I do. So anyway, when my daughter was 2, just turned 2 in September, we live in a subdivision, and we have a neighborhood that backs up to our neighborhood, and this little cat, my husband saw her in the yard one day, in the backyard, and he was like, there's a cat in our yard. Now at this time we already owned 2 other cats, and so we weren't planning on getting any more cats. We were kind of like, that's enough for us. And well, she came into the backyard, and she kind of stayed by the back fence, and if my husband went outside to, like, kind of see about her or whatever, and I was like, we don't need any more cats. Don't bring this cat into the house, or don't feed it. If you feed them, it'll stay here forever. So, and then, well, every time we would walk outside, this cat would run off. She would just run away. She'd go back under the fence. And I think she was kind of hiding back there. But anyway, so this kept happening, several days in a row. This kept happening. And it was very hot outside. So we put some water out for her. And she would come under the fence, and she would drink the water, and then she would go back, you know, and she would leave. And this went on for about a week or so. And then one day I was outside and she came under the fence like that. And I was kind of we had a hammock. We used to have a hammock toward the back fence. And one day I was in the hammock and she came under the fence. And I kind of got a good look at her and I was like, oh my gosh, this cat is so skinny. Like, she was skin and bones. And I didn't really realize it because she had a lot of fur. But I was just like, this cat looks really skinny. Well, I started saying, I started talking to her and I was like, hi, kitty, you know. And as soon as I started talking to her, she came right over to me and wanted me to pet her, you know. And so I put my hand down and I petted her, and she would just like lean into my hand and she would purr, and she was just like so happy that somebody, you know, was helping her or being nice to her, you know. And so I couldn't stand it. So I went inside and I got some food for her and I brought it outside and put it by the back fence. Now, she had kind of gone back under the fence, you know, and so I didn't know if she would even come back. But I put the food by the back fence and I sat in the hammock and I kind of waited. And I'm sure she could smell it. And she came back through the fence. And I keep saying and. I'm so sorry. I gotta quit doing that. Like, I keep doing that all the time. I'm trying to break the habit, but it is so hard. It's so hard to do. I guess I talk like that in like real life. I don't know if I do or not, but if it's annoying, I'm terribly sorry. Anyway, back to my story. She came under the fence and she was like, oh, there's food, you know, and she started eating. Oh, I don't multi-place with this. What am I doing? I'm trying to use my multi-placer. I forgot that I don't multi-place squares very well, especially on this kit, because I want them to be so like perfect and uniform so that it looks the best that it can. Anyway, where was I? The food. She started eating the food, okay? And she was like purring and very happy. Well, while I was petting her, I realized how skinny she was. Like, I could feel every bone in her body. Like, it was bad. And I felt so bad for her. And also, while she was eating, I was kind of like looking at her, and her tail looked kind of funny. And so after she was done eating, I am not even joking, this little cat, she jumped right up into my lap and started purring and meowing, and she was just like, I choose you. Like, you are my human. Like, take care of me, please, you know. And so I sat there and I held her for a while, but I kind of looked her over while I was sitting there petting her, and she had some kind of like cut in her tail. It almost looked like, now I don't know, I could be totally wrong, but it almost looked like someone had tried to cut it off. Like, it was like a clean slice, like almost halfway. It wasn't, the bones weren't damaged or anything. It was just the flesh, but it was cut like cleanly. So I don't know how else that could have happened. I mean, it probably could have happened lots of ways, but in my mind, I was like, I think somebody hurt this cat. And also, I noticed that she was declawed. Like, somebody had declawed her. And I think, I feel very strongly that declawing cats is inhumane. But that is, you know, that's my opinion. And I try really hard not to judge other people for what they need to do, you know, for their own home and stuff. But I just feel like, knowing what I know about declawing, I just feel like it's inhumane. And I think it's incredibly inhumane to have a cat that does not have claws. You declaw them and then you throw them outside. I mean, not that they did throw her outside. She could have just like zoomed out the door. But this cat, let me tell you, I'll tell you in a minute. I'll get to the story about how, like, she never wanted to go outside again after we brought her in. And then on top of that, she had 3 of her 4 paws were like crusty and bloody, like they had been burned. And I know that can happen on concrete when animals walk down the road in the hot summertime, they can burn their paws, and that can happen. And that could very well have been what had happened. But I mean, she was in a bad way. Like, I felt so bad for her. And so I went inside and I got some Neosporin. I came back outside. I doctored her up. I put Neosporin on all of her cuts and everything, and tried to help her the best I could. But after that, I was like, okay. And I talked to my husband, and I was like, this cat's really sweet. I really like this cat. If she hangs around, you know, like, maybe this is meant to be. Like, maybe we're supposed to help her. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think things like that, you know, things happen for a reason in your life. And I definitely think she came to us for a reason, because she definitely needed help, the poor thing. And, well, then she stayed in our yard quite often, and she started, like, you know, she would come up to me every time, you know, she wanted food. So I didn't like leaving food out in the yard, because then you have other neighborhood cats and come over and stuff. And so I just, every time I saw her, I would take her some food outside and give it to her, you know. And then she started to where she wasn't really, like, leaving. Like, she just kind of stayed in the yard. And she got to where she would even come up to the door. We have a glass door. And she would come up to the door and was like, hey, I'm hungry, you know. And I would go outside and I would spend time with her and everything. And because we had the other two cats inside, we didn't, and our daughter too, I did not want to bring her inside until we could get her checked out, you know, by a veterinarian. And so once we decided that we were going to keep her, and it didn't take long, you know, for us to make that decision. You know, but we kept her outside until we got her shots and got her looked at and everything. And so that's what we did. She was just like, please, can I come in? Please, can I come in? She would come up to the door and cry. And you could hear her. She was so loud. She had the loudest, like, little, I called it a grandma meow, because she just sounded like a little old grandma. She was just like, meow. She reminded me when we first got her, because her fur was so scraggly and she was so skinny. She looked so bad. She reminded me of, like, that cat on the old, like, Warner Brothers cartoons with Pepe Le Pew and the cat, where he's chasing the cat and the cat, like, falls into, you know, a barrel of alcohol, of whiskey or something. And that's what she looked like. Like, that's always what she reminded me of, because she just looked so bad. And I don't know if I have any, I know we took pictures of her, but I don't know if I have any, like, pictures of her when we first, you know, brought her in. But anyway, so she, you know, started gaining weight and she started healing, and we had taken her to the vet and she got a clean bill of health. They didn't really find anything other. Oh, she also had, I forgot to mention this, but she also had some broken teeth and some missing teeth. So we feel like she was abused. And yeah, I think she didn't like people picking her up. Every time you would go to pick her up, even like after she had lived with us for years and years and years, she still did not like for anyone to pick her up. And so it just makes me feel like she had some trauma in her life, which is really sad. But we were happy, you know, that she was with us, and she was happy with us. And so we ended up bringing her inside. And the other cats did really well with her. We didn't have any problems really with a lot of fighting or anything. Maybe because they were two male cats and she was a female cat. But that was another thing. We needed to find out if she was spayed, because we did not, you know, we had two male cats and they were both neutered, but still we wanted to make sure that she was spayed and stuff. And so we asked the vet, and they were like, well, it's kind of hard to tell, but because they like shaved her belly and tried to look for a scar. And the vet said usually if they're declawed, they usually declaw at the same time when they spay. So likely it is, you know, it was quite likely that she had already been spayed too. And so we were like, okay, well, shortly, the story does not end there with this cat. So then about a week after we had brought her in the house, she was using the litter box, you know, like any cat does. Cats are the easiest thing in the world to like potty trained, you know. They're so easy. And so she was using the litter box fine, and everything was okay. Well, then somewhere about the second week, she kind of started having diarrhea. And because she had been outside and everything, I was kind of concerned. And so I took her back to the vet. And they did a lot of tests on her. They did some blood work on her to make sure that she didn't have like feline AIDS, I think, because it messes with their like their gut health and their immune system and all that kind of stuff. So they, you know, made sure she didn't have that, and which she didn't. They checked her for some other things and couldn't find anything wrong with her. So they just kind of diagnosed her as having like irritable bowel syndrome. And they, you know, they were like, you could give her like the sensitive stomach, you know, kind of food, like some kind of food that's easy on her stomach, and go from there. And so was like, oh, okay. Well, then it got worse. It got worse. She started having diarrhea outside of the litter box. So she kind of decided she wasn't going to use that litter box, and she quit using it. And she was going, you know, under the bed and stuff like that. And it was bad. You know, I had a toddler that was barely 2. And then I had this cat that was not using the litter box. And it was a mess. And we had carpet at that time. And it was just, oh, it was hard. And so I was like, we have to do something. Like, we can't keep doing this. And if I was a betting woman, I would tell you, I bet you anything that's why she was out on the street like she was. Because I bet you anything this is what was going on, and someone kicked her out. Or somebody abused her because they were mad at her for doing that and then kicked her out. But anyway, I don't know. I'm just speculating. But so because she was, ooh, there's a letter E I missed right there. The E on here looks so similar to the G that I'm working on. It's really hard to tell the difference between the two. But anyway, because she was declawed, I remember I used to watch a show called My Cat from Hell with Jackson Galaxy. And I remember him helping owners of cats who were not using the litter box because they had been declawed, and a lot of times certain litters will hurt their paws, or they'll have association with litter hurting their paws, so they won't use a litter box, and just different things. And so I started looking up information on the internet about, you know, what's the best kind of litter to use, because maybe she has a problem with the litter. And then that led me down a whole rabbit trail I had found while I was doing this and looking at this and researching this, because that's what I do. I'm like, once I want to know about something, I just research it to death. So I found a blog where a woman who was a cat breeder of a specific breed, I don't remember what breed it was. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't remember. Anyway, it wasn't like a Siamese or like a Persian or kind of like it was something else. It was a different cat breed. It could have been like a ragdoll. I can't remember. Anyway, it's kind of important, but it's not important. Anyway, I read through this whole blog, and to make a long story short, she had discovered that, and she was trying to get the word out, that this particular breed of cat had a sensitivity to, like a digestive sensitivity to this litter. And she had even lost kittens due to using clay litter. And what the test results, she had a bunch of tests done and stuff like that. And what they what she had found out, that it was that these cats were basically allergic to the clumping agent that they put in clay litter that makes the litter clump, you know, when they go to the bathroom. And so I just had this light bulb went off in my head, because before we brought her in the house, you know, like I said, she was outside for about a week week and a half, maybe 2. I doubt it. It was probably about a week and a half before we got her into the vet and could, you know, started bringing her in the house. And I was picking up her poop in the yard because my daughter was little and I didn't want her to like step in it or something like that. And so when she was outside, I was going out there every day and picking up her poop out of the yard, and it wasn't diarrhea. Like, there was nothing wrong with it. And so I was like, something happened when we brought her in the house. So if the litter is what happened, that makes sense, you know? And so I was like, that's the easiest thing I can do, is to change out the litter. And so that's what I did. I went to the store and I got some like all natural litter. I think we used like the Blue Buffalo, like walnut shell litter. And I bought that and I brought it home. And then when I cleaned out the litter box, I think we had 2 litter boxes at that time. I cleaned out both of them and I vacuumed the carpet as best as I could. Like, I took my time and vacuumed and vacuumed and vacuumed and vacuumed. And after that, I saw like an 85 to 90% improvement with her. She started using the litter box again. Her diarrhea wasn't as bad. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't like normal, but it wasn't as bad as what it was before. And so I was like, oh, okay, we are on the right track. So I think like the next weekend or so, my husband and we went and rented one of those like rug doctor things, like the steam cleaners you do get for carpet. And we steamed cleaned the carpets ourselves, like the entire house, to try to get like everything out of the carpet that we possibly could. And would you know, after we did that, she had no other problems at all. Like, she was just a normal cat. So whatever she must have had that kind of breed of cat in her. And that's what I firmly believe that is what was causing all her problems. And so I felt so bad because, sometimes it's like our pet, we don't realize it, but our pets are smarter than us, I swear, because she was trying to tell us, like, that litter is making me sick. I'm not going to use it. Like, we get mad at them for doing stuff like that, but like, like she knew that that's making me sick. I can't use that litter box. But the problem is that we had other cats too, and they were tracking the litter. The other 2 cats were using it and tracking the litter all over the floor too. So we had to just completely change out the litter to make it better, and it did. It was so much better after we did that. And so, but it was so funny because after that cat, or this cat, I should say, she never wanted to go back outside again, ever. Like, you would open the door, we had a cat that could open doors, and we had to change the door handle because we had those like swoopy handle doors, and he would just pull it right down. So if the back door was unlocked, he would just open it. So we would all be outside, and then here's the doors just wide open. And he wouldn't go outside, but he would let the other cats outside. But she wouldn't go outside either. She would just kind of stand there and sniff the air and stuff. But she would never, she was just like, no, I'm good. I don't care to ever be out there again. Bad things happen out there. I don't want to be out there. So that's how we got her. And she was like my baby from like day one. It was just so funny because it's really my husband who, first saw her and first was like, we need to give her some water, or we need to help her. And I was like, no, she'll never leave, and we can't have any more cats. And but she just won me over. She won me over so much. She was just the sweetest cat ever, and probably the best cat I have ever owned. Just personality wise. And that's always selective because, you know, we as humans and pet owners, we all have different personalities, and your pet has to kind of fit your personality to be the perfect pet for you, you know. And she was my perfect pet. She, from day one, like, she was always sitting in my lap. Every time I was sitting down, she was sitting in my lap. I remember, like, the first day we brought her in after taking her to the vet and everything. And we came home from the vet's office, and she ran off to hide under the bed because she was like, oh my gosh, these people are mean to me. They took me to the vet office. You know, but then she came out, you know, she came back out dinner time. She came back out and she was like, okay. And then I laid down to watch a movie with my daughter. I had laid down on the couch and I was laying on my side, and she comes and jumps up and lays on my side. Our other cats did not do that whatsoever, but she was like a severe lap cat from like day one. It didn't matter when or where. If I sat down, that cat was, she was in my lap. She was finding me. Another thing she liked to do is she loved fresh, like, laundry. I would, and I mean, I'm not one to like leave my laundry laying around, but because it didn't have cat hair all over it, you know, because we had so many cats at one time. But she, you know, I might take the towels out of the dryer or something and lay them on the couch while I went and got the next load to put the next load of laundry in. And then after I got the laundry settled and everything switched over, I would go to fold up the towels, and she would be laying right in the middle of the warm towels. She was just like, oh, thanks for the nice warm towels for me to lay on. Oh, she was so funny. It was so funny. But yes, that is the story of how this sweet little cat came into our life. So let me know, what kind of pets do you have? Do you have cats? Do you have dogs? Do you have both? Do you have fish or hamsters or snakes or birds? Or there's so many pets, you know, that you could have. So let me know in the comments. Let me know what kind of pet you have. I would love to know. So I think that's gonna wrap it up for me today. I think that's probably a long enough video. I don't want my videos to be too terribly long, but I want to bring this in even a little bit closer so you can see it a little bit better. So I'm going to move my stuff around. See if I can do that without... Oh, did you see my pen? I tried to make like a calico colored pen. I like to make my own diamond painting pens. And so I put a little black cat on there. It's kind of funny looking. It's not the best. It's not my best work. But the actual coloring of the pen, I tried to make it look like her colors. So I thought that was fun. And so, okay, let me bring it in up close. And I will, well, no, I'm going to keep that up. So here we go. This corner is not going to take me very long because, as you can see, I was just placing these. They're all the same color pretty much. So all of this through here is going to be this brown color. And then I have a big section over here that's all the same color. And then there's kind of some different colors there. So this little square is going to go super fast, which I'm not very happy about. Because I don't really want to be finished with this kit. Let me bring it up close so you can see the work I've already done here. All the way up to the top. It's so pretty. It's so sparkly, and it's so funny because this back here, this is a blanket that I made on this channel. So this is so funny. So you can barely see it in that picture. I'll try to put this exact picture up here for you so you can see what the picture looks like and not in, you know, just on the canvas. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you are enjoying these videos. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and consider subscribing and being part of our community here on YouTube. if you would like to, and I will see you in the next video.